My title is The Keys to a Powerful Teamwork. I will start off by introducing myself like in every other Zoom meeting. My name is Mariel, or Mari, for those that may find themselves having issues calling for me. I'm a senior at La Folla High School in the Madison Metropolitan School District. My background so far is a typical immigrant stories brought in every book. I was born and raised for 3 years in Magdalena Temascalcingo, Mexico. I was born and raised for 3 years in Magdalena Temascalcingo, Mexico on March 2nd, 2004. After a long process of payments and broken souls caused by sand and rocks, my parents reunited with my brothers and I up here. My parents reunited with my brothers and I here up north in Wisconsin by the beginning of July 2007. Throughout that first year living here up north, my parents and 2 oldest siblings managed to get a job in the Madison and Monona area, where they provided for me and my older brother with food and shelter under a relative's cramped 2-bedroom apartment. No one in my small family has citizenship until now, where we had my youngest 10-year-old sibling born in my local hospital where I currently live. Due to this, I won't be sharing a job teamwork story. Rather, I'll be sharing a cultural celebration important to me and my family, brought from my Mexican and Native heritage. This celebration has been the biggest event for a girl with Mexican heritage, the quinceañera. This formal event is the sprout of a girl going into her. This formal event is the sprout of a girl going into their womanhood at the age of 15 years old. Some may throw a big or small party where family and friends gather and celebrate them. Due to the long time of this celebration, many dances have either been changed or added. The biggest and most important one is the father and daughter dance. Also, something that's never changed is that every quinceañera will always try to include a princess dress to bring all the attention of the guests during the party. As I grew up, I didn't have access to what most see as a girly childhood. I grew up sharing passed down clothes from relatives and 3 older brothers, so I had low chances of getting puffy dresses and getting spoiled as the only daughter. My childhood was surrounded by boys and local nature, such as mud pies, racing cars, blades, which is a metal spinning tornado, soccer, and so on. If I wasn't outside, you'd find me doing chores, or what I used to call training my youngest brother. Back then, I always wanted a puppy, which at the moment I was 8 years old and he was a newborn. I never spoke with my dad, nor do I remember having memories of us spending time together. The only blurry memories I can remember are with my eldest sibling and my youngest brother. Growing up, my mother was the only adult figure I got to see supporting me. She was there for important events and took care of all my paperwork. She worked past dark to get me a side of candy every week. As soon as I turned 14 in 2008 during middle school, the pressure of either having a quince or receiving the money started getting to me. I wasn't sure. My parents overworked themselves all week, and having a quince felt like a heavy burden for them. The guilt I felt made it worse. That was until my mother reached out one night to share her own quinceañera photos. Her quince was unique like many others. She wore a white gown with a tiara. She shared how last minute the planning was, since she was working far from home and didn't get to visit as much as she wished. After she told me about her quince, I felt relieved. I had forgotten how every quince is unique and the money won't matter once the quince takes place. I decided to have my quince on my exact birthday, and so the process began. Many of my cousins and parents started to organize and start the planning. It started off with a traditional Catholic church ceremony, and my mother got a hold of a date and worked off the payment. A few cousins got in, charge of the guests, drinks, and food. And they had friends who offered to work with the discount payments. My father was in charge of the music bands and ballroom. It was all coming together. We were all on track and busy working nonstop. 6 months before the quince, my mother, cousin, and I traveled 4 hours to Chicago to choose a dress. I stumbled into an issue where I didn't know which dress I should wear. They were all unique and came in different colors. Near the end of the day, after walking across every shop, we came back to the first shop we visited. Throughout the corner of my eye, I stopped to look at this hanged-up light blue princess dress. It had flowers over the corset with long sleeves. The bottom looked as if it was floating due to the thin corded lace. I tried it on and it fit perfectly. It had some loose spots, but it felt perfect, and the color was the exact color we were going for. As months went on, the date was near, and we had to go pick up the dress for a photo shoot process. Once we got there and asked, the staff seemed to have miscommunicated and didn't have time to fix my request. We took the dress and reached out to a trusted friend who got to fix them on time for my first photo shoot. The photo shoot was 2 weeks before the day. They came out perfect and the loose spaces weren't noticeable. As the last snow had fallen and the ground was no longer in sight, the tables were getting set up and so was I. I woke up early to get my hair done and get changed. The dress made me feel like an actual fairy. I felt as if I was floating and people adored me. We all finished getting ready and drove to church. As soon as it finished, we went around downtown Madison to sightsee and get pictures. I was getting lots of attention from people, and even though I might be the shy person, it felt good. The dances went all right and no mistakes were seen. By the end of the night, we performed the father and daughter dance. The emotions were overwhelming. That was the first ever moment I spent with my father, and I won't forget it. I don't regret having that once in a lifetime experience. I hope my future disciples get to hear me share this as well, and hopefully we keep this endearing tradition alive for years to come.
Where I'm from, Eli Mitchell. I'm from cocoa butter and tight braids, from beads and barrettes and donuts on Fridays. I'm from the corn casserole, hot combs, and watching Blackish. I'm from the overgrown plants in the living room, the leafy green smell filling the room. I'm from the Christmas in the middle of the night and the loudmouths from the Miss Mitchell and Jordan and Jives. I'm from the show up late and come too early. I'm from the do it again and see what happens and the want me to give you a reason to cry for. I'm from the guardian angels. I'm from Crazy Chicago, catfish, and mashed potatoes. From the duct taped body and falling down the stairs. I'm from the bookshelf in the living room filled with pictures of babies and aunts and uncles I don't remember.
Sunlight by Madeline. I wonder what sunlight feels like. Legend says there's a place with soft green grounds, food flitting through the air, and more than enough space to do whatever one pleases. A place where the air smells sweet and the beige cement walls are nowhere to be found. A place with real sunlight instead of artificial lights. A place with no metal bars in sight. A place not reeking with death. I've been ridiculed for it, but I like to think this place is more than a legend. Maybe it's beyond wishful thinking, but wouldn't it be a delightful place if the world were more than this gray trapezoid? I'm a cage-free chicken. The green-painted rectangular box on wheels that glides past the minuscule window every day says so in bold letters. Nellie, who was born as what they call a layer, but accidentally got moved to the broilers, so she's 6 weeks older, says it means our lives are better. Supposedly, People pay more for our bodies in the stores because they think we live good lives. Chickens that aren't cage-free are surrounded by wires that pinch at their feathers and restrict movement. I suppose I should feel lucky I'm not surrounded by bars, although sometimes I think a cage might help with the issue of cannibalism. Feathers rustle around me. I slowly blink my eyes open to find many of the other chickens awake, too. Nellie, sensing that I'm awake, nudges me gently. The blinding warehouse lights are on again. I know they aren't really the sun, but they still wake me. Since the lights are almost always on, I'm almost always exhausted. Something is different. Everyone's more tense than usual, on edge. The gray door that blends into the wall bangs open, and 3 humans, dressed head to toe in black, enter the room with long L-shaped devices, crouching defensively and fingering the triggers. The chickens nearest the workers are very quickly worked into a frenzy, clucking as loud as their sawed-off beaks will allow, and using their stick-thin legs to run in circles until they can't hold their bodies up anymore, and they collapse. Distress clouds the air, thick as smoke. We've all realized by now, today is the day. By the time the sun goes down, the real one, all of our bodies will be in that gliding green rectangle, driven to wherever they want dead chickens. The black-clad workers are ushering us out now, aiming their weapons at each chicken that passes through the door to let us know they don't plan on letting us go. Slowly, slowly, the crowd inside the warehouse thins. Slowly, slowly, I will waddle closer to the humans, to the door, to freedom and death. Finally, I'm following Nellie as we make our way out of the barn. There's an indescribable warmth and sweetness to the air, and a gentle breeze tickles at my feathers, ruffling them. I glance up to see a white dot in the sky with lines shooting out of it. The sun, the one I've always dreamed of. It's just the way I imagined, but better. And the stench that has surrounded me as far back as my memory reaches is still there, but there's an undertone of something lovely, something I don't recognize. A gruff shout draws my attention to one of the workers. She's ushering us toward a row of cages. The sun feels so delightful, and even the dirt path under my feet is mostly unscratched, calling to be pecked upon. I'm reluctant to keep moving. Bang! A dart shoots out, just missing one of the chickens. The message is clear. Faster. The scratching of thousands of chickens grows louder as our shuffling quickens. It's a shame that the first time we get to experience this magical new world is the last time we'll see it. I could spend years here and still find new things. It occurs to me that maybe it doesn't have to be this way. What if? Nellie, I clucked. She turns, looking at me with an inquisitive, beady eye. What if today wasn't our last day? What are you getting at? Nellie examines me like there might be something wrong with me. Glancing around, I notice they've started loading some of us into cages, packing tightly with no regard for the already feeble chickens' lives. If it's going to work, I'll have to be quick. We've got these wings on our backs. We might as well use them. If we all make a break for it together, maybe some of us would have a chance. Some of the surrounding chickens have heard. While some sneer, others are relaying my words to their neighbors. The clucking grows louder. The workers look up, noticing the volume change. I turn to Nellie and watch as her face hardens. Let's do it. In a matter of minutes, word seems to have spread through the oversized flock. Nellie, forever a leader, stamps as loudly as her body will allow, signaling a countdown. 3, 2, 1. As one, 3,000 chickens rise from the dusty path, each putting all they have into flapping their wings. Those with damaged wings are aided by the stronger ones. None of us are accustomed to using this part of our bodies, but after a moment, every last chicken has lifted off. Hey, shouts one of the humans, causing my heart to stop. He raises his weapon, pointing at a fluff of feathers. The third worker nudges him and whispers something I can't hear over the flapping and clucking. A moment later, the man reluctantly drops his weapon. Fine, but I ain't telling the boss this time, he mutters. The worker who persuaded him smiles. It occurs to me then that we're free, blissfully free. I don't know what I'll do, but whatever it is, I'll be enjoying every minute of it. For now, I'll bask in the sunlight. 10,000 feathers flutter up, up, up.